Hello everyone, welcome to Legal Darshan. In today's class, we are going to discuss administrative law, and specifically in administrative law, we are going to talk about red light theory and green light theory. Red light theory and green light theory. So these two theories are the theoretical aspect of how the jurists, how theorists have perceived administrative law to be functioning. Now, anybody with a basic idea of what administrative law is, they must be knowing that administrative law, one, it is uncodified when I'm specifically talking about India. Second, it is reliable upon judicial precedents. So basically, precedents, lawmaking by judiciary makes an impact in the way administrative law travels. So it is uncodified and there are judicial precedents. Now, this brings us to see few things that administrative law, it is exercised by executive. Our executive exercises administrative law, powers under administrative law. They make laws, they take administrative actions, right? But judiciary is one of the interpreters of the administrative law. Now, how do we balance these powers? Whether judiciary supervenes executive authority or executive should supervene judiciary, whether what is the balance on these aspects, we have these two theories, which we know as red light theory and the green light theory, right? I hope I am clear till here why we are specifically doing red light theory and green light theory. What is the purpose that these theories came into picture? Why are we studying them? The main reason is that we need to figure out how do we balance the executive and judicial actions in the administrative law, because administrative law is uncodified law. When a law is codified, when a law is codified, we know the four corners in which the law would be functioning. But for the purpose of administrative law, since there is no formal codification, we need to make a balance when judiciary and executive conflicts with each other. So, how do we do that? We have two theories. First one being the red light. So, these two theories, they were given by Horlow and Rowling Harlow and Rowling in 1948. Okay, so these two theorists, they were the propounders of red light and green light theory, and combinedly, these theories are also known as traffic light theory, because red and green are specifically the signals derived from your uh, traffic light, right? Now, Harlow and Rowling gave this theory to assess the objectives, the achievables of administrative law. How do we achieve, how do we strive for a functioning, for a good functioning, efficacy, functioning with efficacy kind of administrative law? Okay, so basically, there were extensive intellectual debates going on over judicial control on the executive action, and therefore these two theories emerged out. Now, there are few questions that are central to this theory. For example, what is the role of law in administrative law? Are the court's only organ, is the judiciary only organ which is primarily responsible for administration of law? And who can be entrusted with the powers under administrative law? Purely government, purely judiciary, or there is a balance? So these were the few questions that we wanted to answer. And also, this theory deals with the conflict of individual rights and public rights, because there can be laws which favor a large number of public, but intervenes within individual rights. So this theory also aims to examine these few questions. All right, now moving on. How would you remember what the red light theory and what the green light theory says is by way of a traffic signal? All right. Now, our red light theory, red means stop. All right. When we look at the traffic signal, red means stop. And when we talk about the green light theory, green means go. The most interesting thing about law is, the most interesting thing about legal studies is that a lot of phrases, a lot of words, they can be interfered from they can be inferred from what their general meaning is. Now your red signal says stop, green signal says go. It says the same in administrative law, but for the state or executive. एक थ्योरी स्टेट को रोक रही है unnecessary interference करने से, which is our stop theory, which is our red light theory. और एक theory state को कह रही है go freely make the actions, go freely make the decisions under your administrative powers. Now, how and on what basis are these theories saying so? We are now going to deal one by one. Okay, but always remember that red light and green light is the traffic light, but for the state, under state or government or executive, under the administrative law. Moving on to the red light theory. So your red light theory is, yes, it basically, it was believed that it originated from the concept of laissez-faire. Your laissez-faire was a concept that evolved during liberalism in the 19th century. It is a political tradition that speaks of minimal intervention of state in the property rights or individual rights, trade rights of the people. So basically, your laissez-faire is the political doctrine. It is the political tradition which wants that state should not intervene intervene in between the civil individual rights of people, rights related to property, rights related to business, right related to carry on trade or profession, and this because all of these are individual rights, so state should not interfere. This is what is the basis of red light theory as well. So in the red light theory, they are basically talking of legal sovereignty, the idea of legal sovereignty, which also A.V. Dicey speaks of. So your A.V. Dicey's rule of law is nothing but that spirit of law should be upheld irrespective who has what power in the administration. Even your red light theory is saying कि legal sovereignty जो है वो upheld रहनी चाहिए. सरकार लॉ के चार कॉर्नर से बाहर नहीं जा सकती. सरकार अननेसेसरी इंटरवेंशन करके पॉलिसीज नहीं बना सकती. स्पेसिफिकली वो पॉलिसी जो इंडिविजुअल राइट्स को एनक्रोच कर रही हो, जो इंडिविजुअल राइट्स को ओवर पावर कर रही हो. राइट नाउ अंडर, अगर जो सरकार है वो कोई भी लॉ पास करती है under its exercise of power given to it by administrative law, then the courts will have power to make a sanction. Court will sit as the protector. Court will sit as a check to these particular actions that the government may carry. So, and ultimately what court is going to say is going to be upheld. So basically in red light theory, we talk of a concept named as legal liberalism. Legal liberalism is nothing but that law, whatever law is saying, that should be followed. And liberalism, we are using the term because we don't want government to come and interfere unnecessarily, unwarranted. Okay. Now, your red light theory is basically upholding the ideas of rule of law. जो भी है वो मौजूदा लॉ है, उसके बियॉन्ड सरकार अगर जाएगी, then it will be subject to the judicial scrutiny. So in essence, your red light theory is saying to state that stop, do not make unwarranted actions in the name of administrative power given to you. And if you do so, and if that is an encroachment of the individual rights, then the judicial scrutiny will be exercised, and all the laws that are being made shall be subject to judicial scrutiny. Now, if I just look at red light theory in one line, it is emphasizing more on judicial control and giving lesser powers to executive. Basically, it is defining, it is putting administrative law in the check of judicial scrutiny, judicial control, and upholding judiciary to be the prime organ which influences administrative law, right? Now, few tenets of this theory is, we can summarize the theory in 4 or 5 points, which is that administrative authorities are subject to judicial control, supremacy of law should be upheld, then courts are the primary weapon or primary source for protection of citizens and to check and to keep executive in check. Weapon is a negative word. I think we can use instrument. Okay. Then if government is making any law in the name of it being public law, then your public law should be made under the red light theory in a way that it strengthens individual liberty, Now, we can connect it to a recent thing that happened in this Savan month, the Shravan month that happens in August, July, August, according to the calendar, and Shravan Mass of the Hindu calendar. The UP government has issued an order that every person should put a name tag in front of its shop, right? Now, if I instruct that people of state Y, they should put a name tag that the name of the shop owner is George, the name of the shop owner is Amit, or the name of shop owner is X, Y, Amir, whatever, then it is basically encroaching upon my individual liberty, because maybe after being exposed, after my identity or after my religion being exposed, my trade would be hampered. My trade would not suffice. It is also against the principle of secularism. It is also against the principle of individual liberty as well of the person. So basically, and the court, it is the best thing about this whole incident that the Supreme Court took cognizance, put a stay on this order, that this order will not operate any further. So now here we are seeing how red light theory is coming into action, right? So this is also one of the objectives of your red light theory. Okay. Now, these are the few takeaways from red light theories which you need to know. Moving on to the green light theory. Now, when we talk about green light theory, as I hinted earlier, it means go, move ahead, right? Now, in the green light theory, it is basically um, the functionalist theory also. It is also called the functionalist theory. Now, it gives control to the state to make the laws for meeting the public good. So the state can make policies, the state can make laws for meeting the public good, and ultimately green light theory is putting the control in the hand of state or executive so as to determine how administrative law will navigate its pathway. Now, the green light theory emphasizes on that it is important for administrative law that government actions should be facilitated, that whatever policies, whatever laws government is framing, whatever things government are doing, they should flow in the society so as to bring and meet the public good, and therefore there should be very lesser judicial scrutiny, very lesser judicial control, as well as lesser political control, that one specific group of people, group of activists, group of political party is not controlling the state action, neither it is being controlled by the judiciary. So basically, the functionalist theory or green light theory, it sees law as an enabling tool of policy making to achieve or meet public good. It is basically an instrument to work for the public good. It is driven by the utilitarian model, utilitarian theory. Utilitarian theory is basically that the law should serve the purpose of utility, the greatest good for greatest number. Utilitarian theory was propounded by Bentham. It was carried forward by John Stuart Mill also. And it asserts that when we encourage straight state contribution with lesser control, with lesser judicial scrutiny, the state tends to achieve greatest good for greatest number. So this theory basically works on the principle of hedonism, saying that जिस चीज से सबसे ज्यादा greatest good achieve हो रहा है, हमें वो चीज करनी है, चाहे उसमें कुछ liberties, individual liberties compromise हो जाए. So this model is basically letting the state action flow with minimal judicial intervention. All right. So basically it's जो रेड लाइट थ्योरी है वो हमारे लॉ को सुपीरियर रखता है टू एनी गवर्नमेंट, एनी पॉलिटिकल एफिलिएशन, एंड इट फॉल्स इन द स्कोप ऑफ व्हाट एवी डाइसी हैज आल्सो propounded in his theory. But when we are talking of green light theory, they are saying law is not superior to the government, law is not superior to the administration, but it is merely a tool for us to make policies. It is an enabling tool, right? And it is a good element. Public administration is not necessarily a bad element, but a good element. And therefore, state can exercise control in lawmaking. And we don't necessarily need court to put a check on us. There can be other alternatives too. So in an essence, what green light theory is saying is exactly the opposite of what red light theory proposed. So your red light theory was basically focusing more on individual liberties, giving power to courts, upholding law, whereas your green light theory is striving towards public good. Striving towards public good, giving more power for state action and lesser judicial intervention. Okay, I hope I'm clear till here. Now I will just show you a slide in which I have summarized it in short, the comparison between the two theories. And now there is one more thing that we will discuss towards the end of the class, end of this discussion, that when we have red light theory, which is extreme opposite to the green light theory, one is giving power to judiciary, one is giving power to state action. How do we strive for a balance? Because both are heinous. Both are heinous. If you exercise unwarranted judicial control over every action, then in that case, we are not going towards a good policy making. But when you leave state unstopped in the name of public good, we are also inviting some of the actions which may be arbitrary, which may be the abuse of power. So how do we balance that? We also have a theory for that, which we will discuss towards the end of this class. Okay. Now I'll just quickly share the slide. We will summarize the two theories and then we will move to the solution theory. Yes. So this theory is, this slide is basically the basic difference between red light theory and green light theory, which we have already just discussed. Okay. In the red light theory, as I was telling you, it follows the path of laissez-faire, that is minimal government intervention in trade, business, and also individual rights. Whereas your green light theory works on the model of utilitarianism. Utilitarianism was propounded by Jeremy Bentham, and also by John Stuart Mill, which carry the idea of greatest good for greatest number, basically to achieve the utmost public good, even when it is compromising on the liberties of individual liberties as well. It is perceived as a functionalist theory. Now, it says that executive should not interfere much in the individual rights. Whatever the law says is supreme, and if executive goes beyond the law in the name of administrative action, then judicial intervention will operate as the sanction. All right. Then with the green light theory, we have that it is a functionalist theory. It is believed that government is congenial and it cannot be always suspected of unlawfulness. So that we are giving zero powers to government to make law. So it facilitates executive action. It says that let the executive decide the law, decide the policies for the people of the state, for the people of society, under the purview of administrative powers given to it without much intervention of judiciary, and law as an enabling tool of policy making to meet public goals. Okay, so basically they see law as an enabling tool and they see law as a curbing tool, that curbing powers. Law curbs extraordinary powers, arbitrary powers that may be given to state at any point of time under administrative law. Now, these two theories, this is basically a catch between firefighting and fire watching, right? So basically, your firefighting is when judiciary is putting a control on excessive actions carried out by administration, carried out by executive in exercise of its administrative powers. And your fire watching is basically setting good examples of governance while exercising powers under the green light theory, powers under the administrative law. So when the two theories, red light theory and the green light theory, goes on the extreme end, we need to make a balance between firefighting as well as fire watching. Now, for that, we have the middle way, which is amber light theory, which is the best of both the worlds. It is the best of both the worlds. Okay, it says that law is different from polity, law is different from governance. State can be limited by law, but it should also be allowed to function. So basically, green light theory says कि amber light theory says कि आप state को law बनाने दो, unnecessary judicial intervention ना करो, but if there seems an apparent threat to individual liberties, there's seem an apparent threat to human rights, then the courts must come into action. So it is basically saying, it is basically balancing the role of judiciary and executive. Because in red light theory, we had judiciary more effective and executive lesser in efficacy. And in green light theory, it was opposite. Executive had more efficacy, judiciary has lesser for intervention. So now amber light is saying that both are equal, both are working simultaneously. Let executive make law and let judicial articulation comes into picture so as to apply the principles of legality and so as to safeguard a particular vision of the human rights. So amber light theory is basically the mix of the two worlds, an idealistic situation in which both the courts and executive are functioning simultaneously for the development of administrative law for achieving the goal of good governance. All right. I hope these three theories are clear to you. If you have any doubt, any suggestions, any queries, any feedbacks, you may write it to us at legaldarshan@gmail.com. legaldarshan@gmail.com. I'll just switch back to the whiteboard so as to write. Yeah, today we have discussed the red light, green light, and amber light theory. If you have any feedbacks, comments, any queries, any topics you want to learn from us, you may contact us at legaldarshan@gmail.com. The Gmail ID is also provided in the description box below. For any more videos, any more lectures that you want me to cover for you, that you want me to teach you, or that you want my help with, you may write to us at this email ID. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for watching. Please Like, subscribe, and share our channel. Thank you very much. Have a great